So I want to talk about this story, this notion of something I heard from, I believe it was Ram Dass. He was in passing. I do believe it was Ram Dass. I was watching a Ram Dass documentary one day, and just in passing, he said this line, something paraphrased of, why are you mad at the city? The city is just citying. It's just being a city. That was really profound for me. I was like, wait, what? And I don't remember if I had an awareness of what that meant yet, or if that was the beginnings of having an awareness of what that meant yet, but it makes total sense to me. The city is just being a city. So why are you being mad that it's a city? So let me explain, because this talks about some of the notions that live within the second realm. This idea of we work, that the sum is greater than the parts, that we work collectively. And you can see this in birds, right? You ever watch those birds and all of a sudden they move in complete synchronicity? I even think they have a term for it now. I don't remember the term, but this notion of they become one, and the one is bigger than the parts. There's more to the one than just the parts, right? Collectively. And again, this is the city being the city. So let me give you this example, right? So perhaps you know what a city is. Or perhaps you live in a city, or perhaps you've lived in a city, or perhaps you watched a city on TV, but something tells me that you can identify what a city is. And you're probably nodding your head and saying yes. And then the question becomes, well, what tells you a city is a city? Like, what tells you? Probably something about, mass transportation, sky rises, people living in close quarters, the ability to commute differently, maybe even the food, right? Or the type of the environment, the culture, the energy. Maybe it's a newspaper, right? Major papers. I don't know. Whatever it may be, something in your mind says, well, this is a city, right? So if you're living in the city, then you most likely are playing out those aspects that help make the city, right? Unbeknownst to you, maybe you have a job as a driver, an Uber driver, you deliver food, or you're a lawyer in the skyrise and you're working, who knows, right? But you're in the city doing the city type activity. So you are part of the city. So you with me? But the city is just the city. So is it you? Because if I were to take you out of the city, would the city change? Of course, there would be some change, but the city would still do the city thing with or without you, right? Because the city is just being the city, which then starts to talk about this notion of those people that are doing the things in the city, experiencing life, just kind of navigating through it all, but outcome is the city. They're a part of what's called a system, right? A system, a collective unit working together. And if you take the person out of the system, does the system falter? Very, very rarely does a system falter. What happens is you leave the city, a job is open, so someone fills the job and they enter the city. So either way, the city is just doing what the city does. You are outside of the city. Does that make sense? Right? Eckhart Tolle said something yesterday about hearing your own thoughts gives you the recognition that you have other than your own thoughts, kind of thing, which was absolutely true. Right? So you're in this environment. So now when you look at this and you say, okay, well, if the city is just being the city, as Ram Dass said, I can't be mad at it. It's just doing what it does, right? Like if I don't like it, I need to remove myself from the city. It's just the city. But conversely, I also want to bring this to you. So if the city, for example, was your family, my family is just my family, or my job is just my job, or whatever it is, there's a collective unit bigger than you that you're a part of. Now, if you're in one of those, as we all are, we're all in so many different collective units, collective systems, all this stuff, right? If you're in one that is not resourceful for you anymore, trying to leave that system can be a challenge because the system is doing its thing. The city is just being a city. It needs its parts. Yes, if you leave, it will replace you, but it's not going to let you go so easily. So the city is just being the city. And if you want to leave the city, now we're talking about finding a way to healthily say, I choose differently. And now we go into all levels of healing because keep in mind, many of these systems, many of the cities are just unresourceful. for you right now?